SCP-2640 is called ghost lights. Now, y'all know I love creepy videos. I don't like creepy stuff IRL. I go to work out at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's still dark over here because time just changed. And I'm like looking around when I go outside and stuff like that. I kind of live in a low budget neighborhood. Don't get me wrong. There's no ghost out here. I know better, but actually I don't know better. This is more suited towards Halloween, I think. Instead of Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving's coming up, and if you celebrate it, guys, happy Thanksgiving. Thanks so much for 8K. We're gonna keep pushing, all right? This one's by Dr. Bob, y'all. Make sure to subscribe to me if you like reaction videos. Let's get into this one.
Just a little further, your friend says.
Where y'all
They're
at?
leading your group, and as you all emerge from the woods, your flashlight
Some
illuminates
ghost
a
hunters?
tall chain-link fence with barbed wire strung across the top.
That means don't
How are
go
you supposed
in.
to get over that? Another of your
You're
friends
not.
asks, and the
It's
group's
made to
leader
keep
has
you
just
out.
the answer. They point their flashlight several yards down, where you see a large pine tree that has fallen over onto the fence, creating a bridge that you should be able to
convenient.
shimmy along to get over the barrier.
Shimmy to
You and your
death.
group of friends take turns climbing over the toppled tree before dropping down on the other side of the tall fence. After dusting yourselves off, your group walks further into the clearing until you come to an old set of railroad tracks that are rusty and look like they haven't been used in some time.
Okay.
Well, one of your more incredulous friends asks, what's supposed to happen? The group's leader explains that if we're lucky, we'll see it. See what?
See what?
The ghost light. They go on to
It's
explain
like
that
a
on certain
ghost
nights,
train.
a mysterious light will appear in this very clearing, wandering the area around the railroad tracks. What is it, you ask? Your friend tells you that many years ago, maybe 100 or more, this was once a bustling and busy stretch of railroad.
All right.
One night,
I love good
a Union
haunting
Pacific
stories,
worker
man.
came out to check a portion of the tracks that were supposedly damaged. The
Okay.
worker went out into the night with his dim lantern, and he walked along the tracks until he stopped in this very clearing.
Sure.
He spotted what looked to be damage to one of the rails and bent
All right.
down to examine it. No one knows why he didn't hear the train barreling towards him or hear its whistle cry out in the night, but the man would
And it
never
killed
hear
him.
anything again, as BAM! The train took his
Wow.
head clean off. Now, with only his lantern
Oh!
to guide him in the night, the headless railway worker wanders this clearing, still searching for his missing head.
Yeah.
That's a stupid story, one of your friends
Kinda
says.
is.
How could someone not notice an entire train?
Right.
I don't know, but it's true. No, it isn't.
Well,
As the two go back and forth, you
urban
suddenly notice
legend
something
or
in the
whatever,
distance.
but
Hey,
it's an
look
SCP.
over there. Everyone follows the direction
Ghost
you're
light.
pointing and sees it. A dim ball of light hanging in the air.
Okay.
See? Your friend says. I told you it was true.
Maybe it's
He
a
steps
wisp.
towards the ball of light, and as he does, it actually moves,
You guys play
drifting
any
back at
games?
the same rate he comes forward,
Will-o-wisp?
as if to maintain the exact same distance. When your friend takes a
What's
step
it doing?
back, the
Observing
light
him?
moves just the same.
Mm-hmm.
Look, over there, you say.
It's definitely
Another
not.
one. What's going on?
It's
Were
definitely
these the
not somebody
ghosts of
holding a
multiple
lantern.
headless rail workers, all searching for their missing craniums?
No,
This
no,
light
no.
is brighter than the other, though.
Oh.
And rather than maintaining a set distance
It's
from your
coming
group,
closer.
it's slowly moving towards you. What do we do? One asks. I don't know, the leader says. I've never dealt with a ghost before. The light continues to move towards your group, and no one knows what to do. Frozen in fear, you watch as the light passes straight through you, and your friends start to scream as it is absorbed into your chest. Their cries become muffled, though, sounding to you as if they're underwater.
What
Your hearing
happened?
isn't the only thing that feels that way. Your whole body suddenly feels as though you're submerged in liquid. You
Okay.
can't breathe, and you thrash at the air, trying to swim, but nothing is there.
What's going on?
You scream and choke and fall to the ground as the ball of light passes through you like you weren't even there, leaving you in
Wow.
the dirt, gasping for breath.
It's kind of like a
Your
ghost
friends
pass
rush
through
over
you,
to
huh?
help you up, asking what happened, but there's no time to explain because two even bigger, brighter lights have appeared.
Yeah,
You're
it's time to
terrified
go.
of what they might do to you, but
Get in the-
before you
get-
can even
get on
think
the
about
log.
running,
Jump the
a
fence
voice
again.
calls out from the darkness. Stop right there.
Oh,
The two big balls of light
These
are
are people.
headlights attached to the front of a black SUV,
SCP
and a pair of angry-looking
Foundation.
armed guards have just gotten out of it. The last thing you hear is one of the men say, I can't believe we have to deal with this, before you feel the sting of a dart hitting your thigh, and your vision
Amnestics.
goes black.
and,
You open your eyes to find that you're
tranquilizer, of
sitting in your
course.
own car with your group of friends. They too appear to have been asleep and are just waking. You're parked on the side of the road next to a thick forest of pine trees, and the sun is just starting to rise.
Mhm.
What were we supposed to do again? One of your friends asks from the back seat.
No
I don't
idea.
remember, you say. But the sun's coming up. Let's get out of here. And you drive your group of friends back home
Can
with
you
no
imagine?
memory of the previous
Bruh,
night's
that was
events.
some strong beer last
This
night.
group of teens was quite lucky. What they thought was little more than an urban legend known as the Gurdon lights was actually a mysterious and dangerous anomaly, which the SCP Foundation knows much better as SCP-2640. SCP-2640 is a temporal anomaly that is found within a 5,000 square meter area near the town of Gurdon, Arkansas.
Okay.
The area is densely covered with pine trees, with the only man-made object found within it being a set of railroad tracks that bisect the area. Of most interest within SCP-2640, though, are the strange entities that manifest inside. Designated as SCP-2640-1, these entities are floating orbs of light that are capable of appearing alone or in groups, though no more than 12 at once have ever been observed manifesting at the same time.
Okay.
Their light will vary in intensity, from 75 to 450 lux, which is roughly equivalent to the range of light produced by standard light bulbs, and the color is always a bluish-white. The lights will normally be seen to travel slowly within SCP-2640, though they have been observed moving quite quickly on occasion, with the quickest ones having been measured traveling at speeds of up to 60 kilometers per hour. There is also a connection between the luminosity of the entities and their behavior. Those measured at less than 150 lux will not interact with humans, instead maintaining a distance of at least 20 meters from the nearest observer at all times. Attempts to move closer will lead to the entity moving away at the same rate, ensuring that it maintains the same 20 meters of distance at all times. On the opposite end of the scale, those that are closer to 450 lux are very active and will approach and even interact with humans. In some instances, the brighter SCP-2640-1 entities will actually pass through solid objects, including people, which leads to a very strange sensation for the person involved. When this has occurred, the subject has described a sensation of being suspended in liquid or floating in a swimming pool, despite there being no outward physical changes to them. This feeling of being in water will start the moment a 2640-1 entity makes contact with their body, and will cease once it is no longer touching them. The SCP-2640-1 entities appear bound to the SCP-2640 area, and any that approach the boundaries will slowly dim until they disappear completely.
Interesting.
In order to better understand the nature of SCP-2640, and specifically the 2640-1 entities found within, an expedition into the area using D-Class personnel was authorized. The 3 Class Ds were equipped with special equipment capable of measuring the relative reality distortion in a given area, and told to follow along the railroad tracks that run within SCP-2640, with orders to report anything they experienced that was out of the ordinary. As they progressed deeper into SCP-2640, their equipment detected significant reality-distorting effects, and just as they did, the SCP-2640-1 entities began appearing. Despite being quite scared of what they perceived as ghosts, the Class D personnel were under strict orders not to run. The 2640-1 that was on the brighter end of the scale approached one of the D classes and passed through his body, leading him to experiencing the sensation of being underwater, and, since he was unable to swim, made him believe that he might drown. The entity passed harmlessly through him, and he was left with no lasting injuries, at least not any physical ones. After this test, and given the extremely high reality-distorting effects that were detected in the area, it was theorized by researcher Dr. Connors that SCP-2640 might be one of the strongest temporal anomalies on the planet. His report goes on to hypothesize that SCP-2640-1 are actually life forms from another time period that we can see visually, due to this anomaly, yet cannot interact with, lest we cause irreparable damage to the time-space continuum. Dr. Connors also noted that the area of SCP-2640 appeared to be slowly growing, and in order to prevent further spread, the installation of several Zyank Anastasicos constant temporal sinks, or exacts, was authorized. And it was a good thing that the exacts were installed, because there was soon an incident that would prove how necessary they are. In a debriefing after said event with Tony Hargrove, a Level 3 tech support staff, the SCP Foundation learned a horrifying reality about the true nature of SCP-2640. Mr. Hargrove explained that he was sent into SCP-2640 in order to assess the damage to the Foundation assets after a major tornado had passed through the area. He explained that while power was still running to the site, one of the exacts had been damaged and needed to be replaced, so a maintenance team was sent to install a spare that was kept on site. As the maintenance team approached the area where the exacts was no longer functioning, they reported that there were numerous 2640-1 instances out, more than they had ever seen before, and a higher concentration of the brighter instances than usual. Soon after they reported this, Hargrove lost contact with the maintenance team and decided to go investigate himself. As he entered the SCP-2640 area, he saw something that he had never seen before. There weren't just a few more instances
Wow.
of 2640-1s
So
than
they
normal,
said the most that
but
they seen
hundreds,
before was
maybe
12?
even thousands, floating all around him. There were so many that they
Wow.
lit up the sky to the point where he didn't even need a flashlight. Hargrove followed the same railroad tracks that the maintenance team had, and after walking several hundred meters, he spotted something in the mud next to the tracks.
The exact.
It was the replacement temporal sink that they were supposed to be installing, and there was blood on it.
Oh no.
He realized that there wasn't just blood on the machine, but it was everywhere, covering the ground all around him.
God dang, what
Then he
happened
saw
to
something
him?
else, an SCP-2640-1 instance near him, but different somehow.
Oh.
I can't remember how I first saw it, he said. Right behind the orbs, there was this spot where the rain just wasn't.
That's
Like it
not
was
good.
bending around some invisible mass, some great thing behind each orb. And once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it.
Oh.
Hargrove tried to step back away from the creature
They get
and
worse.
fell into a ditch next to the tracks, clutching the exacts in his arms as the creature seemed to swim towards him.
Yeah.
As he lay as still
Press
as he
the
could
button.
in the ditch, he got the sense that this 2640-1 instance wasn't just randomly moving towards him. It was looking for him. As the
Yeah.
void where the rain ceased to be swam over him through the air, he attempted to lie as still as he could,
Oh.
still holding tightly to the exact.
He's hiding.
The SCP-2640-1 instance turned and circled over him, like a shark searching for its prey
Weird.
in a cloud of blood, before gliding away into the trees. At that moment,
Dude.
Hargrove knew that the SCP-2640-1 entities weren't what the Foundation thought they were.
No.
These weren't just beautiful balls of light that danced and played in the darkness. They were something else.
They
Something
remind me
horrible,
of
something dangerous.
the
He knew that his maintenance team would never
the
be found,
anglerfish,
and
right?
that the ditch he was lying in that was slowly filling with rainwater was mixed with their blood.
Uh-huh.
The SCP-2640-1s were hunting them, and they never had any idea.
Wow.
Hargrove knew what he had to do. He crawled
So
through
what
the ditch,
happened with the
stopping
ones
any
that
time the
passed through you?
2640-1 got near to him, holding his breath until long after it passed. It took hours of inching along on his belly in the water and mud until he finally reached the point where the damage exacts was located. He managed to get the new temporal sink online, and as it powered on, he watched as the 2640-1 lights around him slowly started to fade
Wow.
and then disappear once again.
Wow. How lucky is
The
that?
deaths
huh?
of the 4 Foundation personnel who were on the maintenance team, as well as 6 other civilians who were killed, were attributed to the tornado, and Mr. Hargrove requested that he be administered a Class B amnestic and reassigned to a new location, both of which are pending
Just let me
approval.
forget about it, bro.
The rail line that runs into SCP-2640 has been decommissioned, and a 3-meter-tall electrified fence has been erected around the entirety of the area in
Right.
order to prevent civilians from approaching. No fewer than 8 Zyank and Estikos constant temporal sinks are placed in the surrounding area in order to prevent the further spread of SCP-2640.
Can we get them hurricane-proof,
The
please?
subterranean miniaturized pressurized water reactor has been installed on site in order to provide constant, uninterrupted power.
Yeah.
The Disinformation Bureau has an ongoing dissemination campaign to further the notion that the SCP-2640-1 lights are nothing more than an urban legend. And should any
Right.
civilians manage to witness them, they are administered Class B amnestics in order to keep this Euclid class anomaly a secret.
Huh.
Just what is the true nature of SCP-2640?
I don't
And
know.
perhaps more importantly,
Spooky though.
SCP-2640-1. Is the breach of our reality a look
They look
into
like
the past when this
anglerfish.
area was covered by an ancient ocean? Or a glimpse into
Yeah.
the future,
That's
when the
why
seas
they
have
feel
swallowed
like
it
they're
once again?
underwater.
No matter which is the answer, the reality is
How
that there is something
strange
there
is
now,
that, dude?
something that has managed to pierce the veil of time and make us its prey.
Yep.
Now go and watch another entry from the files of Dr. Bob,
Very
like
cool,
SCP-4434, Anglerfish, for another anomaly that
You
has
see?
a very memorable technique for luring its prey. And
Right.
make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single anomaly as we delve further and further into the SCP Foundation's classified archives.
Man, this was really cool, guys. I ain't gonna lie. Dr. Bob's animations is probably one of my favorites by far. His use of music, the SCPs he covers, and the way that he tells the stories about them, they're just really, really good, man. I just get a lot of enjoyment out of it. Don't get me wrong, I like them all, but you know, every once in a while I just find one that just hits. This was really, really good, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed it too. Make sure to subscribe to Dr. Bob, guys. Subscribe to me if you like reaction videos. I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving if you celebrate it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. As always, this is Zueljin signing off. We'll see you next time.